I want you to completely throw that image out the window, like ball it up and throw it in the trash and get rid of it.
Let's talk about lesson planning. And we're going to just break this apart because there are lots of different ways to lesson plan. We can plan by the week. We can plan by the day. We can do a 5-day plan. We can do a 4-day plan. We can, do loop scheduling. We can do block scheduling. And I know now all the moms are like, what are you talking about? So we're going to break this apart piece by piece. And Pam is going to help us to not be so overwhelmed when it comes to planning, to lesson planning.
Yep. Okay. So first of all, we're going to separate it from scheduling, and we're going to talk just about lesson planning. And then we can talk about scheduling in a little bit, because they are actually two different things. Yeah.
Right.
So the first thing is, when we think about lesson plans, we have this idea in our head of the grids. Like, if you ever were a teacher, or you saw inside of a teacher's lesson plan book, they had these grids, and like, this is what we're going to do on this day of the week. Mm-hmm. And I want you to completely throw that image out the window, like ball it up and throw it in the trash and get rid of it. So instead, let's think about having something to do on Monday morning. That's what lesson planning is. We wake up on Monday morning, the birds are singing, the sun is shining, everything's great and wonderful. The toddler has not caused any problems. We're ready to start school. What are the possibilities? What can we do? And so then I want you to think about lesson planning in lists. So we're going to have a list of, these are all the things we can do for science this year. Maybe there are 20 lessons on that list. Maybe there are 40 lessons on that list. We have different ways that we teach lesson planning. We have procedure lists, we have lesson plan lists, and then we have a way to handle open and go curriculum that I just don't have time to go into right now. But I just want you to think about having a list of, this is what we can do for science. This is my list of what we can do for history. Mm-hmm. This is my list of what we can do for language arts. And when it's time to do that subject, you simply do the next thing on the list. And so you're never, when we have these grids, what tends to happen is we get behind and we get off, and we're crossing things out and we're erasing them. And we just get so frustrated, and we throw up our hands and we say, planning doesn't work. Right. Planning totally works. It's how you plan. Yeah. And so planning and lists, that's the thing that needs to be done.
So what you're saying is that when we're lesson planning, we don't want to go into this and say, week 1, day 1, we're going to do lesson 1. Day 2, we're going to do lesson 2, because that's what screws us all up, because we can't stick to that. It's impossible.
Right.
I would say even the best teacher who comes up with their lesson plan for the year cannot adhere 100% to their lesson plan, but much less a homeschool mom.
Yeah. I was totally changing those lesson plans all the time. Like something like a pep rally would come up, and it was like, well, there it goes off the window. Yeah.
Right. Or there's a snow day, which you didn't have snow days in Florida. But.
No, not in Florida, not in Tampa.
But for those in the northern states, or hurricanes. I mean,
hurricane days. Yeah, we did have those
hurricane days. So there's always things that come up, and so you cannot plan like that. And so you're saying you plan out what things you want to get through. Now, do you at the beginning of the year, Pam? Do you take and let's just take one subject. Okay. Let's take history. You're going to do American history with your kids this year. It's going to be a content area subject. So you're going to be able to use that with most of your kids, depending on their ages. I mean, you're not going to do the same thing with a 4-year-old that you're going to do with a 16-year-old. But if you've got kids within a reasonable range, you're going to use one of those subjects that you can do together. So you're going to plan out, this is what you want to accomplish with history from August or September through the month of May, or whenever your school year is, or some people do year-round school, and that's fine too, whatever works for your family. And so do you schedule out like every lesson, or do you just look at, okay, there's this many lessons in this curriculum, or maybe if you're doing Charlotte Mason, these are all the books that we want to read throughout the year. And so this is how much time we have to read these books. And then you just, like you said, you just do the next thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I just do the next thing. And I don't even I will tell you that my list of history books this year probably had like 10 books on it, and we've read maybe 6 of them, and I'm completely okay with that, because we've consistently done history most of the time. And
Right.
so we just get as far as we get. And then, think about any curriculum that you purchase, any textbook that you have.
Hmm.
Really, they expect you to finish about 75% of the text,
Right.
especially those content area subjects. So you just pick and choose what you're going to
Right.
leave out.
Now say that again for those who may not have heard what you just said. I want you to repeat what you just said.
Okay, so think about when you were in school, how many
Yep.
times did you do every single chapter in the history book or every single chapter in the science book? You didn't, because when somebody writes a textbook, when homeschool creators create curriculum, they're really thinking you're probably going to get to about 75% of what's in there.
Yeah.
So pick your 75% and leave the rest.
Yeah. Or pick the 100%. And when you've completed the 75%, you can feel really good about the fact that you've done that.
You can, yeah, yeah. Though I will say, so what I don't like to encourage people to do is say, well, we're just going to do the first 3 quarters of the book and leave the
Right.
last,
No.
because there might be some good stuff in the
Sure,
last
sure,
three
sure.
quarters. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, totally. And you just, that's what you need to do. Yep.
Sure. Well, for me, I mean, whenever any curriculum that we ever use, I don't actually go by the school year. Like we just continue on the next year
Yes,
with where we left off.
yeah. Now, I don't do that with content area subjects, because I tell you, by the time I get to the end of the school year, it doesn't matter
You're
how
done.
much of the American Revolution we've
Right.
done. I'm pretty sick of it and
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on to something else. But with math, that is completely how we do it. We
Right.
just
Right.
close the book at the end of the school year and then open it up again next year and just pick up where we left off. So, yeah.
Right, right. Yes, yeah, which is great. And man, math is one of those subjects that can be very stressful when you take a 2 or 3 month break, because then the kids lose some stuff. So oftentimes you're going to spend the first couple months reviewing
Reviewing.
what you had done, at least the last part of the previous year,
Yeah.
depending on what kind of math curriculum you're using. But it's always good to go back and do some kind of review for that. So,
But on the same note, if you end a math curriculum in the middle of the year and you start the next level of that math curriculum, there's probably a very
it's
good
going to
chance
review.
that you could skip the first
Right.
couple of chapters, because it is review of something that you
Yes.
just finished. And so
Yeah.
there's your 25% you're not going to do.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.